Sorry, what is your name?
Carmel.
Carmel. So we're here with Carmel from the Labour Party. Carmel, thanks so much for speaking to us today.
All good. Thank you for talking to me.
The first question I have isn't really around disability. I just want to touch on your standing in the polls at the moment. Generally in the media, they don't think you have a shot in hell, basically. So what do you have to say on that to the viewers on YouTube?
We've got just under 4 weeks until the election. That's a long time in political terms. Anything can happen. We saw a poll release last night that saw Labour going up, I think, about 4 points, and we saw National going down about 6. So if we continue at that rate, we're going to do pretty well, actually, if that's what happens every week from now on into the election. Following on from the World Cup, I think people now are starting to focus on the issues and focus on the policies. And actually, when you poll our policies, New Zealanders like Labour's policies. So what we're thinking they're starting to do is actually match us up with as a party with the policies that we've put out, and so that can only be good for us.
Do you not think that with the Rugby World Cup and all the fanfare that's been around, that hasn't hurt your image as a government?
No, it hasn't hurt our image as an opposition at all, I don't think. I think if anything, New Zealanders were happy with the result. All of us were happy with the result. I mean, we wanted the All Blacks to win. But now what they're doing is they're just switching modes and saying, okay, rugby's over, let's switch over to politics. And actually, we need to take this quite seriously because a lot's at stake for our futures, and most New Zealanders understand that.
Great. So you said that you supported the increase of the minimum wage to $15, and obviously that affects a lot of people that work in the disability sector. They're on the minimum wage. Where is the money going to come from, and how is Labour going to impact on changes around that whole area and issue?
Yeah, well, in terms of, like, say, the private sector, obviously there will be expectations that that money come from the private sector. So they will have to bear the brunt of any income minimum wage increase there. In terms of the public sector, then of course that's where the government will have to come to the table and pay any increase that's required. We think that at the end of the day, the main thing is that we need to make sure that New Zealanders are earning a living wage, and at the moment anything less than $15 an hour isn't. People that are on low incomes like that, though, the thing is that invariably that money recirculates, because they don't have any extra money to put away. That money is going to be spent. Most of their money will be spent. So at the end of the day, that will recirculate, and that's good for the economy. So what we're saying is our primary concern at the moment is making sure that people can look after themselves and look after their families. And so it's a move we have to make. We have to do it.
You're not concerned about job losses due to private organisations needing to pick up the tab on that, as you were talking about before?
Well, with job losses, we've had so many job losses over the last 3 years already. Surely it can't get any worse. We saw over the 90s period, in the 1990s, a huge number of job losses, and during that time the minimum wage barely moved. It moved a few cents, I think, over the course of the 9 years when National was in. So having low wages didn't guarantee increased jobs, so I don't see why the reverse would happen either.
Perfect. Well, not perfect, but thanks. Okay, one issue that wasn't discussed much here today was the issue of employment for people with disabilities. What policies or strategies does Labour have in terms of that, and what are you going to do about employment for people with disabilities?
I guess I'll talk specifically more towards our youth policy, and this affects non-disabled and disabled people. And what we want to make sure is that all of our young people are either earning or learning, because at the moment we've got a huge problem in terms of the number of young people that are unemployed and not in training or of any sort. And although I haven't seen the numbers, I can only assume that actually our disabled people would be overrepresented in that group. So I mean, we need to be putting money towards ensuring our young people are in work or in study, and Labour will do that. We've already said that we make that investment. The investment needs to be made at that point to ensure that that their future is brighter, that your future is brighter, that you've got the opportunities moving forward, that we don't leave you in limbo for a period of 2 or 3 years where you're not working or studying, because at the end of the day that's not good for the country, and that's also not good for any young person's self-esteem or confidence in their own ability to be able to get out there into the workplace. I encourage you on November the 26th to get out there to vote first and foremost, and to give your 2 ticks to Labour. If you want to look into Labour's policies, please go to www.ownourfuture.co.nz. You can also look me up if you want to look up what I stand for. Carmel Sepuloni is the name. I'm on Facebook. Google search my name and you'll find me online.